2 hours, so I gotta maximize my time. But I was
Yes.
playing some Megadeth, so at least I had some music going. But now
At
we're
least you're consistent.
yeah, I'm consistent. All right, all right.
Consistently inconsistent. Wow, what's with the echo?
That was because I had the YouTube on.
Oh, okay.
You're
Yeah, I
like my
just
wife. Calm down, okay? I didn't know the volume was on. Chill.
dude, I ain't judging.
I know, but my wife, she instantly gets, oh,
My
what's that
wife.
noise? What's that loud noise? Like I purposely left something blasting. Maybe I did. All right, let's do the intro and we'll be right back.
All right.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Moon, Greg Narlow, and Lou Mack.
All right. How do I turn that off now? This button? There we go. That one. Why do they got to keep changing things on Zoom? I don't know. Welcome to Rat Salad Review Radio and welcome to Rat Salad Review YouTube. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lou. You weren't here last
Hello.
week. Where were you? You didn't put in your slip to have your day off.
I thought that you gave me a pink slip. That's why you
I did
fired me,
give
and then
you
I
a
came
pink slip.
back.
And then I gave you pink eye, but that's a whole other story, a whole other show.
No, 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 no. If anyone gives me pink eye or Coxsackie virus, that's a real disease. YouTube, don't flag us for foul language. It's my kid, but no, I had family things that I had to take care of, which is personal, but I'm okay. We're okay, and you know, don't worry about it. I got it under control. Cool
Everybody's
as a
okay.
cucumber. Yes.
Catman's in the chat and he said King Diamond on Sunday ruled. I'm sure he did.
How
But
did you go to Maiden on Saturday?
I didn't go anywhere. Catman, did you go to Maiden? I didn't go
I'm
to Maiden.
assuming I'm assuming he's in the five boroughs because didn't King Diamond play Brooklyn on Sunday?
I don't know where Catman lives. I really don't even know who Catman is. Who are you, Catman? I think somebody you did tell me at one point. I just forgot who the hell you were.
I never
Overkill Slade.
remember anyone.
No, I don't. I think Bobby blew out his pants though and was darting back behind the cabinets looking for rope or something. Yeah, maybe. But I saw Overkill once. They were really, really good.
I oddly enough, I met Bobby at Megadeth at what was it? Gigantor 2006.
Hmm.
I he just happened to be walking past me and I greeted him hello, which he reciprocated. And I was online with my buddy Alan Long to get our United Abominations posters autographed by the band Megadeth. But I'll get to that story
Never heard
when
of him.
we discuss it.
All right,
Like Bobby was cool.
cool. Catman is from Toronto.
Ah,
Sorry.
that dude, Rush is from Toronto.
Toronto's okay. I know some cool people up in Canada, eh?
That's right. John Costigan, eh? Circle of hands, eh?
Yeah, he's all right.
Hates somewhere in time, eh?
Yeah, I can't forgive him for that.
No.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I have not seen. I haven't been to any concerts. Last thing I saw, I think, was Merciful Fate when they came to Brooklyn.
Oh, that was
That was like two,
almost
3
two
years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, so I haven't been to anything.
I who did I see? Um, I think I was somewhere. I saw Slipknot,
Sorry.
and see, I like them. I mean, look, if people hate on them because Corey Taylor's kind of like a loudmouth schnook, then that's on them. I like the music.
No, I actually like Corey Taylor. I just don't like his music.
You don't even like Stone Sour or solo
Nah,
stuff.
this is too like modern
See,
garbage.
I
I like
know we've
modern
had
stuff, but I just don't like his music.
I know we've had this discussion before about how you're not really like a fan of drummers, you're a fan of bands. But I gotta admit, when I first heard Joey Jordison, and a lot of my college friends felt this way, like we were blown away by his precision and his technique and his mastery of the instrument. I thought where Gene Hoglan earned the name the Atomic Clock, I thought Joey was the continuation of that. but
You
I'm
know what
not a
nickname I
drummer.
earned?
What nickname did you earn?
The
Malaka?
atomic. The atomic. Never mind. We're not gonna go there.
Oh no, you did not. Oh. Speaking of which, I'm interviewing a porn star
I
tomorrow.
heard. I heard. How did that happen?
So there was this. I was watching a YouTube video a long time ago of this guy named Dale Rudder,
Hmm.
and I'm like, wait a minute, I know this guy. I've seen him somewhere on a tube somewhere. And then I realized, oh crap, that is Dale DeBone, star of Not Avengers Triple X, where he starred as Tony Stark. He literally was Iron Man,
Wow.
and his name was Dale DeBone. So we struck up a conversation on Facebook, and I was like, well, he's way removed from that industry right now. I mean, like, unlike other past stars, he doesn't have an OnlyFans, an OF page. I don't think I could say it. So I didn't finish saying it, YouTube.
That what's that matter? It don't matter.
It's just certain keywords get flagged on,
I don't really care anymore.
Okay, yeah, we got 3,000 subs. Fuck you. Anyway,
Yeah.
but he's very far removed from that industry. Like, he's not really involved with it anymore. And he went on another podcast called That Dude Podcast, which is Tom Byron, who also was an adult film star from the 80s.
Mm.
In fact, he was actually one of the guys that started XPW, Extreme Pro Wrestling, with Rob Black.
Okay, that's right.
And he's still involved with him. So he had Dale on the show. And I'm listening to this guy, and he's talking about music, he's talking about work, he's talking about family. I'm like, he's just really seems like a really cool, normal guy, like living civilian life the best he can. So we struck up a conversation, and I was like, you want to come on my show tomorrow and talk about music? And he's like, sure, I'd love to. He's a drummer. He's messing around with guitars right now. He's posting reels about it. And I said, look, and I won't mention your past career. And he's like, oh, no, we could talk about it. I'm like, well, what am I going to say? How was it having sex with Sylvia Saint? It's like, well, what do I, how does someone who identifies as a non-denominational Christian who's in a happy marriage of 16 years with a 6-year-old daughter, how do you begin a conversation about this subject with somebody?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Dale's really cool. I mean, just like a really nice guy. And, apparently we have more in common than I thought. Just.
Oh, yeah? I guess we'll have to watch it.
Well, considering who my full-time job is, it's something I can't discuss publicly because they can flag me for it, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what an interesting turn of events 24 hours makes.
Well, congratulations. I hope it went well, and we will see that tomorrow. That's on your other show, right?
Yeah, it's on my 3rd episode of the year of Music is Life podcast. I'm sorry, I'm busy. I'm a musician now. I'm plugging away Severed Angel stuff, and we got our new EP coming out, and I realized I also have to get started on tracks for that other cover that we're doing with Bobby and George. But Wayne knows my situation, and being a good friend, he's very supportive and understanding. So support him, pay him, send him money.
That is a really good idea. I like that idea.
All right, because this shit is we're paying for it. So
or I'll take music, I'll take CDs, I'll take records. It doesn't have to be.
If Ralph Vieira could get away with shit, how come we can't?
I know. Well, we'll get there one day.
I love you, Ralph, but come on.
Oh, I hate that guy.
We're just as good as you.
But I did get something cool in the mail today.
Yeah, I thought you hated Rat.
I did. Didn't I tell you?
You told me you hated Rat.
I did tell you. But a few weeks ago, we did a Rat show on Almost Human Live. And I listened to all the albums. I said, I got to just listen to these albums again. And I listened to all of them. And I still not crazy about the first. This was my favorite Rat album. All right.
The original 7-song EP.
Yep. This would be it. And so after listening to the first, the debut of the first album on a major label, I'm not crazy about the album, but there are some cool songs on there. The next one I don't care for too much, but there are some okay songs on there as well. But the album Detonator, I think it's Detonator, right? It's got the green cover. The last album they released.
Yeah, after Reach for the Sky.
Yeah.
Technically, it wasn't the last studio album they released. It was the last studio album of the original lineup.
Right. That album blew me away. I was like, holy shit.
Detonator?
Yeah. I was like, how did they not? Oh, wait, no, not Detonator. What is the last album that they released?
Infestation.
That one. Infestation. Because it's got the
So the
green cover,
one,
right?
right? That's from
Yeah, that one.
2008.
That
With
album blew me away.
that is a great album, and they got Robbie Crane on bass, and they got Carlos Cavazo from Quiet Riot on co-guitar with Warren. And I thought he did a great job taking the mantle from the late great Robin Crosby, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And Robbie doesn't do that stupid like helicopter spin with the bass guitar that Juan Crucier used to do before. Just so cringe when you watch it now.
Right.
It's
well, that's the 80s. So it's
Yeah.
like, when the drummers just twirl the sticks around and, throw them up in the air and do all crazy tricks back in the 80s. They don't do that no more, except for that guy at the wrong gig drummer.
Well, that and Zoltan Chaney, who plays with Slaughter and Vince Neil.
Yeah, because that's an 80s throwback band, but people just
Yeah.
don't do that no more. But I became a huge fan of that album, and I did like Detonator. I remember that one now. Yes, I did like that one. Reach for the Sky was okay too, but that last album, Infestation, I just thought, I was like, wow, why couldn't the other albums sound like this? It was very energetic, because a lot of the older stuff really just doesn't like move for me. It just kind of just stays in one like tempo. And for some reason, Infestation just had so many different changes and songs, and just everything sounded really cool. I really like that album, and I was like, I like Rat now.
Hypothetical notion. Maybe you were just not a fan of Robin Crosby's guitar songwriting style.
Very possible. Very possible.
Because it was very LA. And you may know this, you may not, but you know that Warren, who I think was one of the top 5 best guitarists that came out of the 80s, he replaced Jakey Lee in Rat when they were still Mickey Rat. So that was the original guitar team, was Robin and Jakey Lee.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, you never really heard any material come out, although they did release a couple of Mickey Rat albums.
Some stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if Jake's on it. But yeah, I mean, that band evolved, and their whole point was that they wanted to be hard rock, but fashion rock, they call themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of
see on the back of this cover,
as you could tell.
God,
so my goodness, what's with the shoulder pads?
I know. Like, does it have to be any bigger than that? It's just crazy.
I mean, God, it's like B. Arthur on crack. Holy crap. But I do love that EP. I think You Think You're Tough is like, that's like one of my favorite Rat songs. And it pains me that you can't find any of those songs on streaming or on CD. So I know that they're going through another, I think, a 40th anniversary of Out in the Cellar. I want to hear a anniversary of that. So
I guess awesome. It's because of the record label that it's on, and it's just it's on what's that, Time Coast Records.
It was released on Time Coast Records, which is an indie label, and then once they got signed to Atlantic with Out in the Cellar, they said, okay, we'll release your first EP, so this way we have product out there. And it's funny, I remember they're behind the music from 2006, and throughout their entire career, they worked with one producer, Beau Hill, and Beau at different times apparently wanted to use a different lead guitarist other than Warren DeMartini. I'm like, why would you do that? The guy's a phenom, and he was a kid when he joined them. It's like, replace, that's ridiculous. And apparently, even the band had frustration with him because they were like, guess what? It sounded like another Rat album. Well, you wrote the damn song, so of course it's going to sound like another Rat album.
Right. But hey, Infestation, I mean, it is a Rat album, but it sounds different, and it's just better. I don't know. I guess it is because of the guitarist.
That opening track, Eat Me Alive.
Oh my God, it's so good.
What's it called? Eat Me Up Alive. I mean, just
something like that. Yeah. I don't have the CD yet. I still have to get that one.
I just remember I first heard that. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
and they blew it.
Yeah, I know. It really sucks. It really does. So of
Eh.
course, that's what happens. I start to like something and it just never gonna come back ever again, probably. Catman says for King, I was first 8 rows. Wow, that's pretty close, but there's a sacrifice with the sound. I was getting bounced back and sound didn't match their movements. So that sucks. So Cavazo, I have no idea what that is.
Carlos Cavazo.
Oh, Cavazo. In '83, I thought he was noisy compared to Rose and other great players at that time.
Well, you got to remember at that time, everybody was running their guitars through, heavy tube amps and throwing all these processors and chorus effects and this and that. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of stuff sounded 80s because it was the 80s and it was all kind of homogenized that this way. It's like, you can't tell one band from the other. And you're like, oh, I love this band. And they sound like this band. And they sound like this band. It just.
It's kind of like now, though.
I think there's more variety in terms of like, bands now. I'm not talking about all the subgenres, but I mean, like, there's a lot of bands that can be considered metal nowadays or metal influence that I like that they don't really sound like everyone else. But I will admit that there was a point where everybody was trying to jump on the Sumerian Records bandwagon and everyone sounded like Asking Alexandria or what's that band they call Crabcore? Attack, I think it was.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, basically when they do breakdowns, they go in the position of like a crab, so like their legs are spread like dumbest shit ever.
So stupid.
you know, and thanks to Meshuggah, or no thanks to Meshuggah, even though I love Meshuggah, but a lot of bands in their wake came out with that progressive metal gent onomatopoeia sound, so everybody was doing that for a while, but I'm kind of glad that died down.
Yeah. I am very glad that shit died down because it's annoying. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bands from that grouping that I love. Like I love Periphery, I love Animals as Leaders, I love After the Burial. But it's like if I want to listen to those kinds of bands, I'll listen to them, not people trying to sound like them.
Right. Yeah. That's what like it's like me. Like, I all the stuff I got back there, I listen to so many different bands. I really should count how many bands I actually listen to.
I was gonna ask, have you actually listened to every CD that's behind you?
No, there's some I haven't. There's some still in plastic. I really should listen to them. But not that many though. It's not that many. But it's like, I try to find new bands and I do find bands that sound like other bands I listen to, but sometimes they have to have that something different about them than the other band that I like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like I like say if I like Halloween, right? Obviously, we are
no.
Right? I didn't want to spoil that for everybody. Big surprise. But I like other bands that sound like Halloween, but I don't want them to be Halloween.
What band would you say sounds like Halloween? I can think of one. There was a band out of Sweden. And I remember that they had a CD in 2000 called World of Ice. The band's name was Insania.
No, the only thing that sounded like Halloween was the name because they used that from one of the songs that I'm drawing a blank now. No, that band does not sound like Halloween.
You've heard of Insania?
Yeah. I have the CD on the floor over there.
Is it World of Ice?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm at a stalemate then because you know what I'm talking about.
That's in my for sale pile because that band sucks.
Well, the singer sounded a little bit like Kiski.
A little bit. But there's also another band called Trick or Treat. And they actually started out as a Halloween
You're kidding me.
Yeah. And they actually started out as a Halloween cover band. And the singer does a very little bit sound like Michael Kiske, but not enough. You know why? Because they're from Italy and he has an Italian accent. And you can hear it when he sings.
So, I want to live my life. I want to.
He's a good singer, though. He is a good singer. He's a good singer. But it's just not Halloween. And then there's the band Hammerfall. Everybody kept saying when they first came out, oh, you like Halloween? You're going to definitely love Hammerfall because they sound exactly like Halloween. Well, what's that guy's name? The singer's name? Cans.
Joachim Cans.
He does not sound like Michael Kiske.
No. And looking back, I could see how Blind Guardian got so much influence from Halloween.
Yeah.
because I say that because I listened to Blind Guardian before I listened to Halloween, but now that I've listened to every Halloween album, thank you, no, thank you, Wayne. No, I do love that band. I'm not gonna lie. I could definitely hear how they influenced and shaped Blind Guardian. And for God's sakes, Kai Hansen was like on so many of their albums.
Right. Yeah. He was on, I think, the first two or three. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
not vocally, but musically, I can hear it, especially with the Walls of Jericho. Stuff after that, I'm not so sure about, but yeah, I can hear some similarities. But there's just no band that sounds exactly like Halloween. Never will be.
I almost said Labyrinth from Italy, but I
Nope.
mean, no, probably not.
Nope.
Although I like them, they had a one album. Is it Return to Heaven Tonight? I think I don't remember the name of it. I remember there was a. That's the name of the album.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked you even know about
I love
Labyrinth.
that album. I have all their albums, dude. Come on.
Moonlight is a sick
Look at my
song.
wall.
I can't read all the freaking sidebars from
It's
here.
right there. It's right there. Don't you see it?
More to the left.
Oh, all right. Yeah, right there.
No, you're the left.
Oh, this one. It's right here.
All right, there I see it. It's the same color.
Do you know who used to be? Do you know who used to be the original singer to that band?
Was it the singer of Rhapsody of Fire?
Yes, Fabio.
That was a guess.
Yeah. Wow. How the hell? Where would that come from?
Because I can't think of any other Italian power metal band than Rhapsody of Fire.
That's funny. But yeah, good guess. Who was also now in Angra.
I thought Angra broke up after Kiko joined Megadeth.
No, they continued on.
Well, good for them.
Yeah. They've been putting out some really good stuff too. So
yeah, I mean, listen, Manny, I love you, but I know you compare Wayne to a musical pygmy. I mean, those are your words. The truth of the matter is, Wayne listens to music that turns us on, and it's we either like it or we don't, but his palette is wide open, so we give it a listen. So yes, I'm putting you over.
I listen to a lot of stuff. One thing that I listen to though, and I've been listening to this for the last few weeks because we're doing a show about them, Megadeth.
Very nice.
Wish the show was in 3D because then people would be like, "Oh my god, it's coming at me!"
Extreme close up. Wow.
But the system has failed. We're up to United Abominations, which is what they've turned into, and the album Endgame. Let's begin with the system has failed.
Okay.
You go first because you weren't here last week, so I'll let you go first.
Oh, thank you. I'm guessing that you just recapped the albums that Greg missed with us. Okay. Week. All right. So I love the system has failed.
Okay.
I think the fact that he had Vinny Colaiuta, who at the time was Jeff Beck's drummer. He got Chris Pullen back to cut guitar solos. I'm sorry I forgot the name of the bassist, but it was great to hear Dave Mustaine back in the driver's seat.
You mean Lee slow? I don't know.
But Gesundheit, what?
That's the bassist.
Oh yes, slow
SLO.
Slow ass, right? Okay.
He's slow ass. Yes.
He's dragging all. It was great to hear Dave back in the driver's seat with Megadeth, and what a killer collection of songs to come back with from Blackmail the Universe, Die Dead Enough, Kick the Chair, back in the day. I mean, I love this album so much that it actually made me want to go see Megadeth in concert. What? Which this album came out in September. They came to Roseland November of 2004. It was supposed to be Megadeth, Exodus, and Earshot. Why Earshot was on the bill, I will never know, but Earshot ended up canceling the tour because they were not getting over well with the crowd.
Surprise.
I'm like, that kind of doesn't surprise me considering it's Exodus and Megadeth too.
Yeah.
So this was around the time that Exodus had released it was their comeback album. Forgot the name of it, but it was 2004. and they had fired Zetro, and filling in was Steve Esquivel from Skin Lab, who did a good job. I mean, it's not you don't have to be Jeff Tate to sing for Exodus, so he did a very good job. It was cool to see. At the time was Tom Hunting and Gary Holt on guitar, so great job on them. And then Megadeth came out, and he had the Drover brothers on guitar and drums. I know how you feel about the drummer. You're not a personal fan of his, right?
Oh, the brothers.
So you're not a fan of
Both
either
of them.
then.
No, and we'll get to that later.
Okay. But then I recognized the bassist. It was James McDonough of Iced Earth. And I'm like, oh, nice to see that he got hopefully a higher paying gig. Not realizing that Dave was just using their talents as tour mates, not as bandmates at that point, because by the time the next album, they got James Lomenzo in the band. And if anyone forgets, James Lomenzo was the bassist of White Lion.
Right.
Who would ever thought that a White Lion member would join Megadeth in any capacity?
What I was even like with this album, with The System Has Failed, the drummer, he's been around since the 70s.
He's one of the greatest jazz fusion drummers that ever lived. I mean, he was Jeff Beck's drummer for the longest time.
Yeah, he's played with Sting. He's playing with Frank Zappa. He was in all I'm looking at Wikipedia here, and he was with Zappa since '79 all the way to I guess when he died. So
so he replaced Terry Bozzio. Okay,
I guess I don't know nothing about Zappa, so whatever. But the guy's been around forever, and then to see what he's been involved with, and he does a Megadeth album. It's weird, but it's cool.
That is a marking of a true musician. You can adapt to any style that you get paid for.
Yeah. But the one thing, this album actually was not supposed to be a Megadeth album. It's supposed to be a solo album, Dave Mustaine's solo album.
So I'm guessing because it was the last contractual album for Sanctuary, when he had to deliver it as a Megadeth album.
Yep.
Which was not a bad idea because it's a killer record, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's the best.
He needs the name too, because he did have that MD45 thing, which didn't really do anything at all.
No, and that was between albums. That was between Euthanasia and Cryptic Writings.
Yeah.
Which I was just like, Megadeth with Leaving of Fear. This isn't going to go over well, and it didn't.
It didn't.
But, although I like Fear, but let's be honest,
didn't mix.
It's like asking Paul Di'Anno, rest in peace, to sing Bocelli. It just wouldn't work. Or could it? Well, he's dead now, so forget it. Anyway,
I'll never know.
What do you think of the album?
I was really anticipating this album because I'm a big Megadeth fan, and when I heard what was the first single was
Die Dead Enough.
Die Dead Enough. I really liked that. I was like, all right, this is sounding like Megadeth used to sound, pretty much, because this album does have a mix of like all of Megadeth albums up till now. I think there's a mix of everything on here. And then seeing that Chris Paul was back in the band, I'm like, oh, this is really going to be cool. I just wish Gar was back and he was still alive. I think he passed away by this time, right? I think. Pretty sure.
Gar passed away before their Behind the Music aired in 2000.
He was already gone. So that was the only thing missing with with not having Chris Paul back. But then Dave Ellefson wasn't in the band either, so that was kind of strange too, because Megadeth and Dave, and both Daves and Megadeth are, that's been the band.
Well, apparently Junior was asked to come back, but Junior, according to Dave, wanted to be paid the same amount that Megadeth were making.
Yeah.
When they were still an entity.
Right.
And Dave's like, I can't afford that right now. And Dave Ellefson just said, okay, well, forget it. Apparently they even had Mick Menza come back for the tour. And then 5 days before the tour, he bailed. And that's when they got Drover to replace him. So
no, I didn't know that part, because I know Nick Menza eventually was going to come back again at some point, but then he passed away.
We were hoping. I mean, I loved his drumming in Megadeth, so
yeah.
But another guy that's
it just sucks that he's not going to be around anymore. I wish, and I talked about this on the last show when you weren't here, but they were doing that documentary on Nick Menza, and just all of a sudden, just kind of disappeared. I haven't heard nothing about it
It's
in
weird
quite a while.
because I know the Megadeth fans love Menza.
Yeah,
I mean, like, his skill set as a drummer, his tone on those albums that he played on. I mean, he was really a driving force for those songs.
yeah,
I don't think I as much as I think Gar's a phenomenal drummer for those Megadeth albums. I don't think having a drummer other than Nick would have made it work.
right. Yeah, he was the drummer at the time that Megadeth needed. If they couldn't have Gar. But as this album goes, System has failed. I think it's okay. I like most of the songs. I think they're really really good. The first half of the album I enjoyed the most. You know, towards the end it starts getting like a little wonky, and the last song just I don't know. It just seems kind of like a shitty ending. Usually Megadeth has like really cool ending songs for the albums.
Mhm.
This is not a really good ending to this album. I think it's a
Yeah,
letdown.
I hear you. You can always skip over that, but I will say this though, it definitely brought Megadeth back
Right.
because the following year they announced the Gigantour
Mm.
with Dream Theater, Fear Factory, Dillinger Escape Plan, and Nevermore on the main stage. And on the second stage was Life of Agony, Symphony X, Dry Kill Logic, and Boboflex. I don't know whatever happened to Boboflex. I don't really care. Dry Kill Logic, oddly enough, my friend Casey Mahoney, who at the time was the lead guitarist in the band Downpour, was their fill-in bassist for that entire tour. So I kind of got to hang out backstage at Jones Beach that day,
Mm.
not expecting that. And it was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, so this is where fans go. So that was cool. But unfortunately, that tour was marred with lack of audience because Jones Beach
Really?
was like, I think it was at 5,000 capacity when I was there, and that place holds 15,000 people.
Mm.
And on top of that, they botched the hours for the start time on the ticket. So Nevermore was supposed to go on at 2:30, and the show said doors open at 4:30.
Wow.
So yeah, Jones Beach done fucked up that one.
Wow, that sucks. I always wanted to see Nevermore too. Unfortunately, that will never happen.
Yeah.
Areola, if I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe not. I'm not.
What?
Areola. I'm sorry.
Arola.
I
Stop thinking of
totally
nipples. Tomorrow's the porn star.
I totally agree with the last track not being good and the last half of the album being worse than the first half. But the album was perhaps one of my top five Megadeth. Yeah, it is a really good album. I do enjoy it. My favorite songs are the first three. I think those are the most strongest songs on the album. But overall, it is a decent album. You know, there's not really a bad song. I mean, there's a couple just like instrumental type things on here that's like kind of just pointless to me, I think. But otherwise, it's Megadeth back to being Megadeth, you know, especially coming from the previous few albums like Risk and all that. What do you got? Something important?
Yes, I'm sorry. Keep talking.
Okay. But yeah, System has failed. A really good comeback album, and I wish Dave Ellison was involved, but he wasn't. So we got what we got. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Ugh.
Dude, I again, it was for me, it was the best Megadeth album since Rust in Peace. So
I would
I
not
was
go that far,
well,
but
no,
it was
I
good.
loved
It was
Countdown,
good.
I loved Euthanasia,
Hmm.
but I was very excited for this album and I wasn't let down. I understand how you feel about the last track on the album, and I respect that. But I mean, the other than Rust in Peace or Euthanasia or Countdown, this was the one Megadeth album I constantly had on repeat in my car. So, or my Discman back when I had one. So, I I love it and I still love it to this day. In fact, when I revisited it for the purpose of this episode, I was just like, my God, I forgot how much I love this album.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's great stuff.
When I was listening to it too, I'm like, wow, I really forgot about how good it actually is. You know, because usually it's not one I go back to very often because there are songs I don't really like. But for the ones I do really like, they are good, and that's a really good album. And I forgot all about it because
Did you,
I can't I was telling on the show last week. This is the point where I've kind of like grown out of Megadeth.
Well, this is the point where I've come back into Megadeth.
Wow.
By the way, one cool thing I gotta mention. So I grew up a huge fan of Daffy Duck. At one point, there was Duck Dodgers, which was a series with him and Porky that aired on Cartoon Network.
Hmm.
Dave Mustaine did a voiceover for
really?
one episode, and um, they actually animated Megadeth performing back in the day on it, and I have to admit, I was like, I never thought I'd see Daffy Duck and Megadeth in the same freaking episode, but this is awesome.
I've never seen it. I'll have to look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's there.
I'm sure there's clips.
Yeah. And Errol agrees with me too. He says it bugs him that I know Jack isn't a full song, and I agree. I mean, I think it's stupid. Why not just put a full song in there?
I skip.
Yeah, yeah. And he says that short little instrumental is fantastic, and it would have been great if it would have been a full length track. Exactly. He gets it. She gets it. I don't know. Are you a guy, a girl? I have no idea.
Arola, what pronouns do you identify with?
No, we don't do pronouns on this show. United Abominations. You know what it's abomination?
This album.
Having the Drover brothers join your band.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Hate. Why do you hate the Drover brothers so much, Wayne?
Well, Glenn's a jerk.
Oh,
you know, when people do podcasts like us, you know,
yes,
and you try to find guests to come on your show, you know, you write them a nice little message. You say, hey, would you like to come on the show and talk about the bands you've been in and what you're doing now? Let's try to help you, you know, get your albums out there to people that can
keep you in the public eye.
Exactly. And then when they write you back like stupid nonsense, like one of the Drover brothers does.
Define stupid nonsense.
All right. Well, we do a King Diamond podcast. Okay.
This podcast belongs to them.
Right. So I said, I would like to have you on the show because you were on one of the King Diamond albums. He was on God damn, why is my can't remember anything tonight? House of God. Thank you.
Okay.
So he was on House of God. So I said, come on the show. We'll talk about House of God, your time with the band, and all this. So he goes, yeah, sure. Let me know when everybody is involved. I said, well, that's impossible for me to get everybody involved, but I have a couple people ready to come on the show. So when can you come on? And again, he says, let me know when everybody's ready to come on. So I just humored him. I said, okay, I'll let you know. A couple of weeks go by. I message him again. And he says the same thing. And I'm like, all right, either you're going to come on or you're not going to come on. And he said he would. And then it just snowballed into like just stupid nonsense. It was just things
so
that
he's
just
jerking you around at this
jerking
point.
Jerking me around. And then the last thing he just says is like the word eggs, just to be a dick. And I'm like, what the fuck does eggs mean? And it just like nothing. It just means nothing. And I'm not the only person this has happened to. This is other podcasts. There's another podcast that we're friends with on this show. And he tried to set up an interview with Glenn, it's Glenn, right? Glenn, not sure. I don't want to be, I don't know the drummer. So I don't want to give the drummer a bad name, even though I don't like your drumming. It's what is the guitar's name?
I think Glenn Drover. I think Glenn is the guitarist.
It's Glenn, right?
I believe so. Hold on, let me confirm.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm not bad mouthing the wrong person here. God.
And if we are, we're sorry, but your brother's a dick. But
yeah, it's Glenn. It is Glenn.
So, I thought it was Glenn. Okay.
So our other friend and Arola is a man. So all right, cool. But our other friend tried to get an interview with Glenn as well. Glenn said, okay, I'll do the interview. He goes, but you have to send me the link now. And he's like, all right, I'll get you a link in like 1 second. And he's like, no, you got to send it to me now. So my friend frantically puts the link up and gives him the link to come on the Zoom chat. And he goes, oh, well, you didn't do it fast enough, too late.
What a dick. Oh my God, that sucks.
This was like 2 seconds. This wasn't like, you know, a half hour later. This was like immediately. You just sent him the link and then he goes, oh, too late.
You know who wouldn't have done that? Ronnie James Dio. He would have
No,
come
he was a
on.
nice guy. But
Nice to his
why be
fans,
like that?
yes.
Why be like that? Just say, you know what? I don't have time. Even if it's a lie. You don't want to go on somebody's show to say, I don't have time. No, I can't do it right now. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't be a drover.
don't be a trover. I mean, look, Wayne and I have been invited on other podcasts as guests to promote Severed Angel, and I'd like to think that we've been cool with, if not most, all of them. Even though sometimes the line of questioning would be a little asinine and repetitive and not well thought out, but we never made it a point to, call anyone out on that or say, oh, I'm offended by these questions. It's like,
never badmouth anybody either. So.
no, it's like, they like us enough to have us on. We're like, of course we'll give you the time of day,
Right.
and we're just regular working class schlubs from Long Island. So, the fact that people like us enough to listen to our music and want to have us on, thank you. We're grateful for that. But yeah, don't be a dick. Don't be a drover. Don't be a Glenn Drover.
Yeah, exactly. Rosemary Dover, not Drover.
Oh, run away.
Yeah, I was right. My dyslexia really put an R in front of that D, and I was like, oh shit. She says Super Collider.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, after Super Collider, they seem to get back to what Megadeth is. After Super, all right, yes. And I'm not a huge Megadeth fan, but I pay attention to what Dave's up to. Dude can surprise you. Yeah, he definitely can. And yeah, that album I think is on next week. We'll do that next week, unless I have a guest. We'll see. But for now, we're going to do a United Abominations, and this is a weird album cover too. Like Vic is kind of back on there, but he's not.
Vic is covered in
weird.
human tissue.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like this album cover at all.
I'm not a fan of the reimagining of Vic Rattlehead.
No, I should have mentioned that. I don't like it either. It's just weird.
I mean,
to
have like the jowls. I don't know if they're really called jowls, but you know what I mean. Like the things, the hooks that are in front of Vic's face, in the mouth.
Maybe see a little bit better on the back there.
And have him as like a long hair, rail thin emo kid. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just very strange. But music wise, and Arola says United Abominations was a disappointment for him.
Just say it was an abomination.
It was Abomination. I actually kind of like this album a little bit. I like more songs off of this than I like the previous album. Like Sleepwalker, I think that was the first single.
Yes, and that was a killer track.
Really good track. That really, I was like, wow, they're really, back to being Megadeth. The next album sounds really good too, and it does. Sleepwalker, Washington is next. What else do I have on my list here?
Never Please don't say Alone. Gears of War.
I love Gears of War. Don't tell me you don't like Gears of War.
Not a fan.
Really? Well, maybe because of the video game. I love the video game. So probably
no, I never played Gears of War, and
but I'm a fan of it.
I think it's just the repetitive Gears of War. Gears of
It
War.
is.
I'm like, do better. Come on.
It is. I think wasn't that released for that game?
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
Because I remember
it works with the game.
Because at the time, when I worked at MTV and Spike was still a channel, we did a lot of live cutaways at the EA convention, and MTV2 got in on that. And I remember on Headbangers Ball one night was the big world premiere of Megadeth's new video, Gears of War. It was just them performing at a live concert, playing Gears of War, and that was the video. And I'm like, where's the effort?
Yeah, I hate live videos sometimes. Just nothing there, And the last song I like is "You're Dead." But like Erola says, the first 3 tracks are great, but I don't care much for the rest, even though a few later tracks have fantastic short parts. And that's true. There's a lot of things on here, like Sean Grover's drumming. It's very plain. It's very bland. Everything is.
Did you say Grover?
I said Glover, Drover, Grover. I don't know what I said.
Is he the fuzzy blue guy from Sesame Street?
Let me tell you what he does.
No, you turned the page. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh God. My son just read that book the other day. but
I still read that to my kid.
he's not the drummer for Megadeth. He doesn't everything is done with the double pedals and the snare drum. He goes around on toms a little bit, but not like Nick Menza. He doesn't play nothing like Nick Menza. Doesn't even play like the Grasso. Was that what the
Jimmy
the
DeGrasso.
yeah.
Jimmy's got a great feel,
He
and
does.
there's
He
a
was good
reason
with
why he's a
Megadeth.
go-to guy for so many bands.
Right. And definitely not Gar. He's not even the guy from So Far So Good So What. I can't remember his name either.
Chuck Baylor.
Chuck, yeah, he's not no Chuck Baylor either. But
You can pronounce his name better anyway.
And that's bad. And that's bad saying that. That's what I think the downfall to this album is. And then that goes for the rest of these Megadeth albums too, while he's on drums to me. It's just one boring performance on drums after the other. And being a drummer, I'm not a fantastic drummer. I'm an amateur drummer. You know, I've been playing for 30 years. I'm still amateur.
We're hobbyists.
But-
We're not professionals.
Right.
But it's fine. No one's putting us under a microscope, analyzing what we're doing and saying, oh, it's not that innovative. Shut up.
Right. And it just bothers me. It's like, how do you pick this guy? There's nothing good about his drumming that fits the band. And even
Could
Aroba
you-
agrees with me too. It looks like a robot playing live. What?
Could you see yourself as a drummer in Megadeth?
No, because I can't do a lot of the things that previous drummers like Gar had did. When I started playing drums, I was playing to Rust in Peace. So I can play Nick's style of drumming, but I really can't do Gar's.
I understand.
I could try. If I really tried, I can do it, but I will never be like him.
I can tell you right now, as a guitarist, I could never be in a band like Megadeth.
Yeah.
Because like I listen to what every guitarist has done, from Chris Poland to even Jeff Young, who's a really good guitar player. I don't feel like he gets enough credit. Especially Marty Friedman and Glenn. And later on when Chris Broderick comes in the band, I mean, Chris did some shit that I thought was like, as good as what Friedman and Poland did before him. But I'm not that kind of a player. So I can tell you right now, if Dave Mustaine offered me a role, I'd be like, nope, I will not doing that. I couldn't do that. If James Hetfield offered me the Metallica spot and replaced Kirk, I'd be like, oh yeah,
no problem.
with my hands tied behind my back.
But that's the thing too. It's like you have a new guitar player, and you can't tell he's a new guitar player. Like when Marty Friedman was in the band, you could tell there was another guitar player there. This just sounds like Dave Mustaine's doing all the solos and doing rhythms, everything on his own.
Well, this is the only album that Glenn played on, so
yeah.
Well, you must be very happy about that. All right. Well, I gotta talk about the elephant in the room. That redone version of Atout Le Monde.
Yes, I forgot about that one. Yes.
Bites the big banana. I'm sorry. I love Christina Scabby. I love Lacuna Coil. But why? Why redo Perfection?
There was no reason to, and they sped it up a little bit, which doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work as a faster tempo song.
And it's not that much faster. It's just a little tiny bit faster, but just does not work. And she sounds, I think if she would have maybe just sang most of it herself, it would have sounded better. I
think if she sang it as a single and sang it solo, it would be better.
Yeah.
But to release it on the Megadeth album was just a bad move.
Did not make any sense to me. There was no it's too new of a song to like cover of your own band. It just wasn't a song that needed to be redone.
No, I'm not a fan when bands revisit their older material and say, "Oh yeah, we could do." But I think maybe like the one time where it worked was when Judas Priest did do Diamonds and Rust on Rock and Rolla. But obviously the one on was it Stained Class or was it it was on Stained Class. That's the superior version.
I think it's Sin After Sin, isn't it?
You're right. I'm thinking of Green Monalishi. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. But I mean, they did it better when they had Simon Phillips on the drums, just because, again, to me, the drummer makes or breaks the band. If the drummer has a great feel and great timing,
Mm.
helps the song great, immensely. You know,
Yeah.
so that is an example of when redoing a song that you've already done works. Tuatla Mono, United Abominations, and again, Christina, I love you. I think you're an amazing singer. I love
She
Lacuna
is. She's
Coil.
really good. Yeah.
What's that?
She is. She's really good. I love them too.
It didn't work.
No. No. It's funny. She kind of sounded like Doro too at some points in her.
Yeah, you're
It's
right. I didn't
weird.
think about that.
Yeah. It's been a while since I
That's
heard that song and going back and listening to it, I'm like, wow, she sounds like Doro. It's weird.
Yeah. Although it's
But
funny, Lacuna Coil just released their 20th anniversary of Comalize, I think it was, where they reimagined the album.
oh no.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be,
Mm.
but there's just something about the original album that I prefer. But it was cool to hear them, you know, redo it again. But I didn't expect that. What's the male singer in Lacuna Coil?
I don't know his name. I'm terrible with names.
Well, I didn't expect them to go like Nick Holmes Paradise Lost style death growls. I wasn't
Oh
expecting
really?
that.
Wow. They
Yeah,
changed it up a little bit.
they did change it
Now
up a
I'm
little bit.
interested to hear that because I do like that album, and I don't mind bands going back and revisiting things like Paradise Lost. They just revisited the Icon album. They re-recorded the whole entire thing, and I like some of the singles. I haven't bought it yet, but I did like some of the singles that I have heard. And it seems like a lot of the newer stuff that people have been re-recording, they kind of like listen to the fans from like the other bands that have done it, like Twisted Sister when they redid Stay Hungry, and it was
I
fucking
hated that.
awful, god awful. And there are a couple other bands too. And I think people paid attention to that and said we really have to work on these type of things, like the new Cavalera Brothers albums where they redid the first three Sepultura albums. Those are
Hmm.
really really good. I think they did a really good job on those.
Well, I think a lot of it is rights issues
Right,
because what
that's what it is.
so many of these bands sign these shitty record label deals, and we would know because we were almost there. Where the label pretty much owns the masters,
Hmm.
owns the rights to the music, owns the publishing. So what they do is they're like, all right, well, we're going to redo the album the way we want to and make it sound the way we want to. And we're going to tell people stream that. So you don't make a dime anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Hence why the music industry as we know it is dead and buried.
yep. But and that's why we get re-recorded albums. But some bands can do it, and some bands just can't. But it seems like lately they've been doing some good jobs on re-recordings. But go ahead, finish up United Abominations,
I mean, it's
Abominable
not,
Nations.
it's, I'll, oof. I look, I mean, I would not put it up with Killing. I would not put it up with Peace Cells or Rust in Peace or Countdown or Euthanasia. I definitely wouldn't put it up with The System Has Failed.
Mm-mm.
It's a good album. It started promising, but there's just something about it that it's not there yet. And come the next album, I think it's a big improvement, in my opinion. I it's funny there at the time when Endgame came out, I don't remember a lot of fans saying that they liked it. But I didn't think it was all that bad. But we're not at Endgame yet. But yeah, I mean, United Abominations, I would say listen to it, because Sleepwalker is a good song, and there are a handful of
It
good
really
songs on
is.
it. Washington is next.
Yep.
Give it a shot, but leave your expectations not so high.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame. My poor Megadeth. At least
But
like the logo looks the same. Go ahead.
oh, and I saw them on that tour for the third time at Gigantor 2006 at the Nassau Coliseum. So this was a great show. This was Megadeth with Lamb of God, Arch Enemy, Opeth, Overkill, and I forget who else was on the bill. But again, me and my buddy Alan Long, we had a GA floor, so we were able to be in the front and watch Lamb of God and Megadeth and Arch Enemy. We missed Opeth and Overkill because again we were online trying to get well, not trying to get, we did get Megadeth's autographs. And James Lomenzo was in the band at this point with the Drover brothers and Dave. Dave was in a very bad mood that day. I don't know what happened, but he was just signing the posters, moving it along. He wasn't acknowledging any of the fans.
Right.
But James Lomenzo was cool. Meeting the Drovers in person was cool, but did I think they wanted to be at the autograph table? No.
Yeah.
It seemed like Lomenzo was the only one that did. So interesting story. So like Lamb of God, I'm a Lamb of God fan, so I was screaming every word back at the band, just loving it. And Megadeth comes on, and it's killer. They do what you expect them to play. Although I have to admit, there was one drunk fan next to me during Symphony of Destruction. During the riff, he was going Megadeth, Megadeth. I'm like, will you shut the hell up? It's just
I hate that.
There was an incident though where this and again, we were near the pit, and there was this one guy. He had to be early 20s or whatever, tall guy, a big guy, and I think someone cut him with a spike. I think dude had a spike wristband and cut him. So he's like, oh shit, I'm bleeding. So Alan and I, again, we believe in audience etiquette at a metal concert. So we were just like, here, lift your arm on us so that this way it's like, we could show people, dance around us, if anything, like he didn't have a tourniquet or anything. So we're just like, lift the arm up. So like, the pressure would stop and we could still see the show. And he was grateful for it. And then came this one drunk guy. I mean, he looked like a reject from Fairfax, Virginia. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, you're in the wrong state. And he's like, hey, man, get out of the way. I want to go to the front. I'm like, nah, dude, I fought for this spot. I'm staying here, and I'm helping this kid out. Get the fuck out of my way. I want to get to the front. Go fuck yourself. I'm staying here. I'm going to kick your ass. So then he tries to jump on Alan's. He puts his hand on Alan's shoulder.
Right.
And Alan's a great kid, but he's from Texas, so he don't suffer fools very well.
Texas.
You don't. And then he tries to put his shoulder up on his hand on my shoulder, thinking he could elevate himself to the front that way. So Alan and I looked at each other and we're like, ready. As soon as he jumped up, we backed away, and he fell flat on the floor. And then everyone just started kicking this guy in the head because, like, you fucking asshole, we told you not to get back up here. So Alan and I looked at each other like, want to join in? Sure. So
I love
don't fuck with us at a Megadeth concert.
No, don't. Catman, he missed all those bands at Gigantor because he was sitting in an outdoor bar. When Mega came on, their power died and Dave was pissed.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sucks.
Was that the Maple Leaf Gardens?
Had to be. He's from Canada.
Catman, was that the Maple Leaf Gardens? Please respond. Thank you.
Please respond right now. Now. Catman.
Schnell.
I never got to see Megadeth, and I don't want to either. But I did get to.
I wouldn't see them now.
Yeah, I did get to meet up with Dave Mustaine though when he wrote that book, and he did that book signing tour thing.
Oh, when was that?
I don't remember. A long time ago. Might have been when right before System Has Failed came out. Maybe I don't remember. I don't know.
Okay, I missed the Alex Van Halen book signing, but I kind of didn't want to go to that one because I was like, I feel like if I went, it would just be so heartbreaking for me because I'd probably just like get all emotional and knowing what Eddie meant to me as a fan and as a musician. So
did he go to Huntington the book place in Huntington?
No, and if he did, I would have gone there, but I think it was an exclusive Barnes and Noble thing. So
that sucks.
Yeah, he was in Manhattan and somewhere in New Jersey. Can't remember, Lou. No worries.
Yeah. But so I got Dave's autograph in that book, but I also got it in this album too. This whole album is actually autographed by the whole band, which has a new guitar player again with Chris Broderick. And I was really excited to get an album with Chris Broderick on it with Megadeth, the Endgame album. By the way, I didn't introduce this next album because I love Jack Panzer and he was great in Jack Panzer. And then see he's with Megadeth. I was like, all right, this will work. Unfortunately, I'm not crazy about the album. I think I don't know. It's just not the Megadeth that I really want to hear. I do like songs off of his album again. There's let me see, This Day We Fight, 44 minutes. I think that's my favorite song off this album, by the way. Bodies is really cool. The Hardest Part of Letting Go was a cool song, and Head Crusher, I think, is really good. But other than that, I mean, there's just I don't know. There's just what it is with Megadeth. I love when they got the thrashy stuff and they got the heavy stuff, and then when they get to the chorus, it's always something that's very rememberable and it's just good. You can sing along to it almost. There's not much of that on here, and it's missing. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of the newer Megadeth stuff, is that catchiness that they used to have.
Yeah, Megadeth excelled where the other bands of the big four, I hate calling them that, but for context, I will refer to that. They were really amazing and still are to this day at merging melody with aggression and real high class musicianship.
Right.
I mean, I don't think, and Dave earned his role as band leader to a point where he would only want to play with the best musicians. And I just wish that he could keep a band together longer than like 2 or 3 album cycles.
It's really annoying. It really is.
Because then it's not really a band. I mean, well, he's a sole proprietor of
Right.
Megadeth at this point.
I'm surprised he never changed it to Dave Mustaine's Megadeth.
Oh, like Graham Bonnet did with
Yeah.
Graham Bonnet's Alcatraz? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the real Alcatraz is doing fine with Girls School. Don't worry about it.
Arola said Endgame is his number 4 on his top Megadeth albums list. Wow. That's cool. I mean, if you like it, you like it. It's not, like I said, it's not terrible. But seeing that Chris Broderick was in the band, what it is. It's just Dave Mustaine's got so much control over what this band does, what music they record and everything. He doesn't let the other members really add much to them, to the
No,
songs or the albums,
I
which kind
think
of
he's the
annoys me.
sole songwriter on this.
Right. And it just, I know like James Lomenzo. I mean, he's a great bass player. He's been in so many bands. And in Dave Broderick, what he's done in Jag Panzer, he could have added to this album, and it's just not there.
Funny you mentioned that about James Lomenzo, because there was an interview where he was discussing his relationship with White Lion and like how he was grateful to be in a successful band, but how he resented the way he was treated by Vito Bratta. He has nothing nice to say, really. Maybe Greg D'Angelo, the drummer, but he has nothing nice to say about his former White Lion bandmates, because he wanted to contribute music to White Lion, and he told that to Vito, and Vito said, "I'm the guitarist, you're the bassist, I write the songs, you play them." Now, I think Vito Bratta is a phenomenal songwriter and a great guitarist, but again, that's a pretty dick thing to say to a bandmate.
Right. That's the whole point of being in a band together. You work together to make the band what it is. It's not just one person's telling you what to do. I mean, that's what bands become nowadays, but especially Megadeth. But that's not how the first 2 Megadeth albums are, or the first few Megadeth albums are. You can tell there's a band actually working together, and that's not what they are anymore.
Yeah, like I will say this, like, Alex and I write a good bulk of the stuff for Severed Angel, and George and Mark write just as amazing, stuff for the band. But I would never diminish anyone's contributions. I would always say, "Hey guys, what do you think can make this riff better?" Or
Right.
This and that. And
that's how it's supposed to be.
And you contributed songs on, you contributed lyrics and song ideas, and and even the story of the album that we're recording right now. It's like, you started it, and then all of us contributed stuff, and we came up with a storyline.
Right.
So and there's not one person who's sole credit on the songs, because it's like it's a win for the band is a win for all. So that's our attitude about it. So
Right. Right. That's how bands should be. And it's a shame. I get bands you gotta be a business, at this point in time. You really have to make your band a business if you want to really succeed with it. But you can still
yeah,
be a band and do it at the same time.
well, there's so much that goes into the whole business side. Like, again, there's the logistics and the touring thing and things like that. And, if bands just went on and did festivals on the weekends, it'd probably be better for them, because like, then they get their travel expenses paid for, and they could just like, play whatever equipment's rented. But
Mm.
no, Megadeth still go out on tours, opening for Five Finger Death Punch.
Right. God. If you
I
follow me on
can't
Facebook, check out my post about that one.
I can't justify that.
Arola says, I think it loses its steam during the last two albums, but it's great until the last two songs. Yeah, I agree. There's some good stuff on there. 1320 is a fantastic is a fantastic. Killing is my business Star Trek. Yeah. Did you
So,
talk about this album yet or no?
no. So I enjoyed it more than United Abominations.
Mhm.
Did I think it was a return to form? No. I mean, I hold System has failed, to a very high standard. So I thought that was more of a return to form. I think at this point, Dave's still testing the waters out with his new bandmates and seeing, okay, you're not that good for this, or you're out, or whatever. But
Mm.
him bringing Broderick into the band was a complete step up.
Yeah.
Again, a gentleman when I met him. So this album came out in 2009. So 2008, they did Gigantor that year too, and it was Megadeth in Flames, Job for a Cowboy, High on Fire, and Children of Bodom.
Hmm.
Not a fan of any of them, I'm assuming. Well, except
Children
in Flames.
in Flames, Children I Am. And who's the other bands? I don't think
Job for a
no,
Cowboy.
no.
They're a deathcore band, and
I
apparently
know who
their
they are.
contribution to music is they introduced the Brie vocal style, the pig squeal.
Oh yeah, it's garbage.
Brie,
Not for me.
Brie, Brie. It's like, oh Jesus.
Not for me.
But they were cool to watch live, and High on Fire was really good. I mean,
I
I like
tried. I tried to listen to them. I did not like them.
I was a fan of Matt's work from Sleep. So when they first came onto the scene on Relapse, Hung, Drawn, and Quartered, I really dug that track because great rhythmic, like tractor trailer to the face type song. I liked it. Um and so the story behind me going to Gigantor 2008, so they played 2 nights in a row at the Hammerstein Ballroom. I was supposed to go to Van Halen with my brother-in-law for St. It was on St. Patrick's Day, but that's when Eddie went to rehab, and they moved the date to the night before my wedding, which was the rehearsal dinner.
Mm.
So I was like, yeah, Aaron's not gonna let me go see Van Halen the night before my wedding. That'll never happen. So then he surprised me. He got us tickets to go see Megadeth, but not only that, but he got us VIP. So
Oh.
he actually got us backstage, and we got our autograph signed for the poster for that tour. It was great meeting Chris. It was great meeting Dave. Was friendly that day.
Mm.
And I actually told Dave, I said, thank you for the great music and thank you for the influence that you've had on me as a guitarist. And he's like, hey man, thanks for saying that. That's really cool. James, I told, I've been a fan of yours since Pride came out. And he looked at me, he's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 27. He's like, you were a kid when that album came out. And
Yeah.
I said, yeah, my brother was a huge fan and I love listening to the album. And he's like, that's really cool. Thank you. And he was like appreciative. He was like, he didn't think that a 27-year-old would even know who White Lion was at this
Right,
point.
right, right. Yeah.
And Chris, I there was a video that was circulating of him doing the 8-octave scale, and I remember watching it. I was like blown away by it,
Mm.
and I told him that, and he's like, "Oh, it's nothing." I'm like, "No, it's not nothing because I can't do that."
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was really cool because they took a picture of me with my brother-in-law, and his name is Mike. So he's on one side of Dave, I'm on the other side. Dave has his arms around both of us, and I'm like, this is fucking cool. I was like, he's like, so what? He asked what brought us here, and I said, oh, my brother-in-law got this for me as a wedding gift because I'm getting married in 2 months, and we've been best friends since third grade. And he's like, that's really awesome. Like just being he's just being very friendly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't get it. It's like you hear horror stories about Dave Mustaine, and then you have experiences like that. It's like I guess you just got to catch him on a good day.
Yeah, exactly. You just never know. And Catman says, by the way, Wayne, I love lives where you read comments. The RMCP needs to do this more. Yeah, they do. They're not like us. We're better than them. Those guys at the RMCP.
Well, I mean, when you do the Thursday night show, that's almost human. That's not rock and
Yeah.
metal combat.
No. The Thursday is almost human, which I read comments on there too. But you know what? It's easier for me to read comments here because sometimes there's not too many. I mean, there's been a lot of people watching tonight, which is really cool for us. We haven't had that many, and then some new people in the chat as well. But with almost human on Thursdays, there's just like one thing after the other, and it's really hard to keep up. And I try to read the comments. I like to read more questions and stuff like that because I think it's cool to like talk to the people watching the show.
And it's
But
hard to talk over Tony Dio. I love you, Tony, but
Tony does
dude,
not give you a moment to talk. He
it's
just
like
keeps going.
it's like you just want to go and Tony be like, and another thing, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
damn it.
And about time he's actually shut up, you forget what you're going to talk about.
So you got to write it down.
Yeah, I've had to yell at him many of times.
You had to pull a Manny on him.
Yeah. I've had to. I've yelled at him a few times. I love him though. I love both of those guys, Ralph and Tony. It's fun. We do a really good show on Thursday.
Tony's good people, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun. Cool people. Anything else about Endgame?
Step up from United Abominations, but and great to have Chris Broderick in the band, but not there. Almost there. More there than United, but not there yet.
Does it get there for you? You don't have to say what album, but does it ever get there?
We'll discuss that as we get more to the discography. I think we only have like 2 episodes more of this.
Sure, we might be able just to squeeze the last 4 albums in the next episode. I don't know.
Could do that. It's just been us.
Yeah.
Greg, you got to come back on, man.
What is the next album?
God, you're asking me. How dare you?
Endgame. Hold on, I got it right here.
This is
13.
bad one.
13.
Okay. So let's see. What do we got? We got 13, Super Collider, and Dystopia, and The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead, and The Caught on FaceTime. What?
Yeah, we should have did 13 on this episode too, because I still have another 45 minutes or whatever on Free World.
Well, I didn't listen to it.
I didn't listen to it
for
either.
this episode.
I have to listen to that album because I don't even remember that album.
Yeah, all right. So I guess the next episode is the last episode. So not of the show. I mean, of the series of Megadeth reviews.
We'll see. There might have to be another. Listen to all 4 of those. That's a lot. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
I can handle 4 Megadeth albums in a row. It's fine.
I can. Maybe back in 1980s, but not now.
Well, I did mention, because like I'm always thinking of like ideas for the show, and I did send a message. I said it would be cool to maybe do bring back album versus album, and the one that I thought of. So I'm a big fan of heavy metal from Japan. 2 bands that I could think of. One is Anthem, and the other one is Loudness. And of course, I'd throw in X Japan in there because they're just great. Also, Nightmare, they're another good band. Continuing the Visual Kai thing that X Japan started, but Anthem's just straight up like balls to the wall heavy metal, great stuff. So at one point, Graham Bonnet, former singer of Rainbow and Alcatraz and Blackthorn, sang um, anglicized versions of uh, anthem songs,
Mm.
and it came out really good. And I think it would be cool to do an album versus album where we take that album and put it against a Loudness album where they had Mike Vescara of Obsession, later Yngwie Malmsteen, where he was a lead singer. Maybe do an album versus album of that and see, well, what sounds better? Like, which band do you like? I don't know, just thinking that would be cool. If anyone has any comments on that, please feel
Yeah,
free.
that's not bad. Yeah, and it is actually it is because there's like tiers on the YouTube channel that where people you guys can actually be a part of this show. If you really wanted to come on here, you can purchase one of the tiers. I tried to make them as cheap as possible because I really don't want people to spend money on this show. I mean, that's just with our advertising and stuff like that. But it
Mhm.
does help us if you do subscribe to something that we do here because it does help
Yeah.
me with paying for advertisements of the show and all that kind of stuff. But if you
Keep
guys have
keeping the website
suggestions,
up,
right? Because that
the
website's coming
graphics that we
down.
do.
So it's coming down if I got to keep paying for it because I don't even update it no more. But it helps me promote YouTube. I really want to stick. YouTube is the place for us. I still do the podcast, but I haven't even updated that in a while. I just haven't had time. But YouTube is the place to always find our show because we will always be here on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And
Hmm.
yeah, I like to promote the shows and stuff on the YouTube channel, so it helps us. You
Hmm.
guys do that stuff.
By the way, shout out to Jerry's. How do you pronounce Jerry's last name? Soupy? Soup?
Soup? I have no idea. Soup?
Um, Jerry from the
Soupy?
BS sessions with Mark and Jerry, who just supported Severed Angel
I
by
think it's soup.
just purchasing a copy of the new album Skyward. Thank you, Jerry. I just mailed it out to you today. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah. If you want to buy a Severed Angel album, just go to severedangel.com. You can get the latest album called Skyward, which he will bring down right there. Skyward is the latest one. The debut album right there, which is called Severed Angel. And then we also have a bunch of singles on streaming, which you can find it, but it's also on the deluxe version of the debut. And on the 15th, well, hopefully, we have to make sure somebody uploaded those songs.
Alex.
Yeah, we should be having a like little 2-song mini EP of 2 cover songs that we did. One of them's already released. It's already the video's released. It's for Def Leppard. What's the song?
It's Too Late for Love,
Too Late for
and
Love.
we did that for the Sweetwater Pyromania
Which we
40th
lost.
anniversary.
Those sons of bitches.
We lost because apparently we didn't sound enough like Def Leppard, and I'm like, you're right. We're Severed fucking Angel. We're not Def Leppard. Def Leppard did what Def Leppard does. We do what we do. So
sounded like ourselves. So, well,
and look, it's not like we signed an NDA, so I could finally talk about it. All you guys who contributed covers suck because you sounded pitchy. The production was horrible.
No.
Fuck you guys.
No, now you're sounding bitter.
No, I'm just being honest.
Those people probably feel the same about us, though.
Fine. Well, I'm going full Jim Cornette. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
No, everybody does their thing. Whatever you can do, you do.
No, but Wayne, if it sounds good, it sounds good.
Maybe it sounds good to them. Just like it sounds good to us, but maybe it don't sound good to them.
Don't tell me beauty's in the eye of the beholder because I can objectively say that those covers sucked.
Whatever. It is what it is. People did what they did, and they have to live with that. But then we also have a cover song of a Paradise Lost song, but I'm not going to tell you which one until it comes out on the 15th, so you'll have to keep an eye on that.
And Wayne, that was actually his idea to cover it. And when
it wasn't my idea, it was Mark's idea.
Oh, was Mark's idea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sorry, Mark, our keyboardist, came up with this idea, and when he suggested it, I was like, yes, I'll record the guitar parts right now. So I got the BPMs, and I recorded everything in a day because I was like, I love this song so much. Paradise Lost, that band should have been bigger.
They really should have. I don't know why. We'll have to do a Paradise Lost show. I think that's going to be one of the next projects we do.
That would be cool.
Because not too many people talk about Paradise Lost.
They do not. And the funny thing is during the pandemic, I think it was Metal Injection. It was one of those metal news sites. They were doing like a cover series, and they covered Everyone I Love Is Dead from Typo Negative, and Nick Holmes of Paradise Lost actually contributed vocals.
Ah,
It sounded great.
he's got such a great voice.
Yeah.
He really does.
I'm not saying he would have been a perfect replacement for Pete Steele
Yeah.
because Pete was one of a kind. You can't duplicate Typo Negative with anybody else. But that baritone voice of Nick and that power behind his voice, it's just, as the kids say, unfuckwithable.
Yeah, he's really good. And so was Paradise Lost. So that be on the lookout for that on the 15th of November. Anything else? I had stuff I could have shown, but I got. You just talked about Alcatraz. I showed other stuff last week. I got this on vinyl. No parole for rock and roll. I have the CD, but I saw this on vinyl.
One of my favorite albums of all time. What's the price tag on that?
$10.
From where?
An antique shop over in Oakdale.
Are you serious? You found that in an antique shop at Oakdale for $10?
Yeah.
Ah, lucky.
I know. I was like, when do I ever see this record? Never. I see the CD once in a while, but I never see the records.
Is that an original pressing on Rockshire Records
Yes,
from
sir.
'83?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and it's nice.
Look how young Ingve was. He still had some
I know,
baby
right?
fat on him.
You don't even recognize him really. It doesn't even look like him, to tell you the truth.
Now, I think he was 19, 20 at that time. He was the youngest guy in the band. All of them were in their 30s by this point.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. I don't think have I listened to this album yet? I don't even know if I did. Maybe.
Well, you're not going to like the drum sounds on it because, as Jimmy Waldo confirmed on his interview with us, that was an electric kit that he was told to use for the studio.
I don't mind the electric kit as long as it's kind of works with the music and fits. I'm fine with it.
It did, but you could hear him shine better on the next album, the one they did with Steve Vai, Disturbing the Peace.
Hmm.
I mean, this guy, Jan Uvana, played with Alice Cooper, so he's no slouch.
Hmm. Yeah, because I like Genesis. Even King Diamond used an electronic kit, and it did bother me at first, but I got over it. It's good.
When did King Diamond ever use an electric kit?
The Eye.
Really?
Yeah, it's all electric. You didn't know that?
No.
Go back and listen. You'll hear it instantly. It's
Okay.
all electric.
Wait, is that a Sheila E album you bought? What is that?
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's a guy.
It's the Cooper. Alice Cooper. Zipper Catches Skin.
That has a song that was my introduction to Alice Cooper.
What song?
I Am the Future.
Really?
Yes, because that song is from the class of 1984 soundtrack.
He's so weird. He looks so weird. It doesn't even look like Alice Cooper.
He was tweaked out on so many chemicals at this point, dude.
But I got this for $14. So that's wasn't too bad either. Another album I really don't see out too much.
No, that period of his stuff, that what he refers to as his blackout period,
Right, right.
that's never really ever referred to.
No, it's not. I there's a couple songs maybe I like on there. What's on here? Make the money and the future. I like girls. They're just such weird songs. I better be good. That's so freaking weird.
What was the first one? The thing about Zorro, right?
Zorro's Ascent.
I actually like that track.
I'm alive. I'm alive. That was the day my dead pet returned to save my life. That's the title of the song.
Ever since Alice Cooper recorded and released I'm Always Chasing Rainbows, it's like, he just went crazy.
I like that song.
What, I'm Always Chasing Rainbows?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
It was so weird when the context of Guardians of the Galaxy. It was just like, what? Like, I feel like I'm on a bad shroom trip right now.
Yeah, I showed this last week to Greg, but I didn't show you. I got this Twisted Sister. The Kids Are Back and Shoot 'Em Down picture disc.
Very cool.
This was one of the King Fowley's auctions that he does on Facebook.
Why is Kim selling his stuff?
He's got so much stuff. He's just selling it.
I know, but
I'm not gonna argue with him. I got a lot of cool stuff from him. You kidding me?
I mean, I sold most of my stuff, but I ended up getting a lot of it back. So, you know, I have not that I got the original pressings of what I had back, but those out of print Iron Maiden CDs from Castle,
Mhm.
or even the 1999 remasters where it's like the last pressings of like the original American releases. I have all those.
Mhm.
I have all the Black Sabbath box sets, and then I got a bunch of other stuff. Um, yeah, no, I'm keeping this CD collection this time. You
Yeah,
know,
there's a couple of things that I've gotten rid of, over the years, but then I would buy again because like, why did I sell that? And you were wrong, Catman. The album Conspiracy does not have electronic drums. Those are Mickey D drums. They just sound like shit, but those are real.
uh,
Oh, but
let's
he did
see.
apologize. He meant the eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
So,
take it back.
so there is one concert I'm planning on seeing next month.
What's that?
Clutch is coming to Mulcahy's, which
Don't you ever
is
see anything good?
what's wrong with Clutch?
I don't know. I don't like them either.
Oh my god, and my goddaughter, and my niece. Oh god, dude, I love you, Faye, but I can't believe you did this. We're going to Ghost at the Garden next summer.
Oh yeah,
I'm afraid to say how much she paid for the tickets.
really? How much could that possibly cost?
142
A ticket?
a ticket,
What?
not the floor, but the section right behind the floor.
And you can't bring your phone.
Yes, which is an interesting discussion because I did bring my phone those first two times I saw Ghost. I got some great footage. I guess the show at the Kia Forum was an experiment to see if people would actually pay attention and interact with the band as they were performing, which they did. So I guess Tobias wants to keep it that way.
Fuck him. I love Ghost, but to tell people they cannot bring their phone, what if there is an emergency? Something happens in these arenas, you know? There's an
Yeah.
emergency and people need their phones.
Yeah.
Are
Like,
they all going to rush to the front and make a nice neat line and get everybody's phone back? That's not going to happen.
bring back pagers, I guess. I don't know.
It's just it's stupid. It's dumb.
I mean,
I,
I'm wondering if an Apple iWatch is a workaround of that.
but not everybody has your money to have an Apple iWatch.
I don't have the money for an iWatch. I'm not saying I do, but
But not everybody has one.
no, this is true.
And Catman blew a clutch once in a Mustang. So there's that story.
I'm jealous he was in a Mustang. But
But
what's
that
your beef with Clutch though?
I just don't like them. I don't like the music. I don't know. Doesn't do anything for me. You know who likes Clutch? And he's not
Mm,
here. He hasn't been on this show in the
Greg,
chat. Nope.
who likes Clutch?
Stan.
I would have never guessed Stan from Brooklyn likes Clutch.
He likes Clutch.
Would have never guessed.
Yep.
Mr. Headless Guitar Man himself.
But he's got a nice looking headless guitar. Yours is
Yes.
ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was affordable.
I know.
uh what else? But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who went to the Barclays Center on Saturday to go see Maiden. Apparently they all had a great time. Um, they finally performed Alexander the Great.
I heard. I've seen a lot of videos from people that were there, and they seem to love it. I didn't watch it. I don't want to, but yeah,
You could definitely still hear a difference in Nico's playing.
I have noticed that some stuff that I have heard. Yeah, there's the drum rolls are completely different, which is
Yeah,
fine. He doesn't play
he's
them always the same anyway.
he's kind of had to simplify his playing a little more,
Yeah.
which is completely understandable because listen, a stroke could be debilitating,
Mhm.
and if you get one, chances are you're going to need some kind of therapy or rehab to bring you back to where you were. So the fact that he survived it, huge blessing. And look, I've vocally admitted that I prefer Clive Burr as Maiden's drummer as opposed to Nico, but that doesn't mean I don't like Nico. And I don't know anything bad to happen to him. I mean, he makes people happy. So, just glad he's still with us.
Yeah, me too. And as long as he can still play, I don't care what he does. As long as he's keeping the song sort of in the same area, it's fine. It is what it
I
is.
think he is.
Drummers tend to not play the same shit that you hear on the albums anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, not everyone's a Mike Portnoy,
No, not at
which, by
all.
the way, our condolences to Mike Portnoy on the passing of his sister.
Oh, I had no
And,
idea.
and yeah, she passed away here while he was on tour in Europe. And apparently, like, they were that night, they dedicated Spirit Carries On to her.
Mm.
And he was like breaking down as he was playing. And Petrucci actually went on his drum riser to like uh, console him. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool because you weren't sure if they were still friendly or not.
Well,
Like
yeah, I would hope. Yeah, they were because they did a solo album together.
right, but how long did it take for that to happen after
Not
the
very
breakup?
long. Not long at all.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
I like to know like really what happened in that whole thing. I don't think him and John Petrucci. I don't think it was a beef with him. It had to be something with
Labrie,
James Labrie.
I'll talk about Labrie in a second, but I will say this. Mike wanted the band to take a break
Yeah,
after they did the Maiden tour in 2010. After Black Clouds and Silver Linings, is that the
yeah,
album?
yep.
And they didn't want to. And he said, well, I need a break. So I'm stepping away. And it was for them saying that they wanted to continue. Once they didn't, so there was an amicable split. And then they went through the whole process of auditioning drummers, which out of all those drummers, I respect Mike Mangini as a player. I would have gone with Virgil Donati, but you could tell he was even struggling a little bit with some of the parts.
Right.
And I'm like, how are you struggling? You've played with Alan Holdsworth of all people. But I digress. Anyway, so they picked Mangini and I accepted it. I was upset that they removed him from Dream Theater to bring back Portnoy because I had already accepted Mangini as the Dream Theater drummer. But I will say this, after hearing the new song, feeling like they picked up from where Black Clouds and Silver Linings left off, I was like, okay, I'm glad Portnoy's back in. But, Mangini's contributions to the band should never be diminished. Now on to James Labrie. Quit.
Why?
Because he sounded pitchy as fuck.
Oh yeah. Well, he had throat cancer, right?
I
Some
don't
kind
know
of
if it was throat
cancer,
cancer. He had a
throat mouth.
polyp. He blew a vocal cord
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Right. And he's never got it back.
So they
Paul
should have.
Stanley.
I didn't, dude. I did not support Paul Stanley when he started singing like a cackling hen.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you're singing at that high pitch thing that you do. It gets to you after 20, 30 years.
At that point, 40 years.
At his point, yeah.
But look, I mean, I didn't. There's a reason why the only Kiss concert I ever saw in person was 2000 with the farewell tour. But was he performing up to his standards for that decade? Absolutely. I think his solo tour is what might have blown his voice because then they went on the Sonic Boom tour and I was just like, oh, he's kind of losing it a little bit. But listen, if the fans were willing to spend money to see them perform at that level, well, then let send the fans home happy, But I thought it was smart for Kiss to detune, down to a whole step from standard tuning, but not enough to get me to want to go see him perform. And Alex's favorite band is Dream Theater, so he's excited about going to see them at Radio City. But if Labrie is singing in standard when he shouldn't be, I can't see myself supporting it on stage. I can't do it.
It's hard for me to even listen to a regular studio album. I did not like that new song, by the way. I didn't think it was that good.
What'd you find wrong with it?
It's just too plain. There's just nothing there. It just seems like the last few albums. It just seems like Mike Mangini's still there. There's just nothing Dream Theatery about it. Like what I loved in the first few albums, you know. And what I loved in the Mike Portnoy era of Dream Theater, I should say.
Well, I mean, to
I
this
mean, it's
day, I
not
still
different. It's not really different than what they usually do, but there's just nothing like, all right, I'm back. Let's make this band a little bit better. You know, it's just on a we've done this thing and this is just how we are, and we're just going to continue to do that.
to this day, I still think Images and Words is one of the best albums ever released.
Ever, ever,
Um,
ever, ever.
yeah, I mean, that was one of the few albums that had a huge impact on me. Like I put it up there with Fair Warning, Diary of a Madman, High and Dry, and oh, what I know, and Killers. I
Mm.
I put it up there. I love The Wake. Thought Falling into Infinity had some great stuff, and I like their first album with Rudis, Metropolis. But then it just got a bit too technical for its own good. Yeah, I really was not too keen on 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. I liked where they were going with Train of Thought, though.
Mhm.
And the fact that they were playing as low as they were, I was like, okay, Labrie could sing this,
Mm.
you know? But then, dude, they ripped off Muse on Octavarium.
Yeah,
Literally, note for note, Panic Attack is Stockholm Syndrome.
right.
And I'm just like, doesn't anyone else hear something wrong with this?
Well, they were influenced by it, and you know.
I, I get that, but dude, it's practically plagiarism.
What are you gonna
Sue.
do? Nah, it's all right. It is what it is.
I'm not hating on Dream Theater, and look, I respect James Labrie as a vocalist, but either detune down to his pitch or just stop
You
it.
think they could get a new singer and carry on with a new singer, or is that it's just too late for that? I think it's too late for that. I think
It's
they're just
definitely
stuck.
too late for that. I mean, you can't get Dominici back in the band. He's gone.
Mm.
Not to mention
Should they get Chris Collins back?
he's a death metal singer now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he started doing death metal. So
Wow.
no, it's whatever high timber he had is gone.
Wow. Shame.
Um, I've never heard a Dream Theater song with Chris Collins, by the way.
No, you gotta check
No,
out the Majesty demos.
no thanks.
Yeah, no, it's not bad.
But maybe I could chalk it down to maybe his in-ear monitor system was off that night, so it just sounded bad. But that debut show of the tour, it was really difficult to listen to it.
That
Not
sounds
to
about right.
watch it, not to watch it because the band was great.
Sounds about right.
Tell you the truth, I would have been more happy if they replaced Rudis with Kevin Moore again.
That's not happening.
I know Kevin Moore's too busy writing Turkish romantic film soundtracks,
Yep.
supposedly.
All right. Anything else?
Not really. Just excited about the new EP coming out where we cover Paradise Lost and finally release a Def Leppard track. We're almost done writing album 4. Album 3, the photo shoots are done. So now I guess we just got to work on layout.
Yeah, I was trying to work on that the
Mhm.
other day. I need the I don't know who we're gonna have to print it, so that's a whole other. We'll talk about that in the chat.
Yeah. Let me just say this. When you're in a band, logistics issues will arise every way possible. How you survive it is just being on the same page.
Yeah, you just don't know who you can trust. But anything except for
Pretty much.
yourself.
Self-reliance is a good thing.
That's it. But all right, that's it. I think we've rambled on enough.
Yeah, we definitely rambled a lot.
But thank you for everybody for watching. We had about 8 people watching here, and I think that was really, really cool. We usually don't have that
Yes.
many people watching all at once there like that. But
We
really
always
cool.
we always appreciate the fact that people are willing to spend a Wednesday night with us. Thank you.
Yeah, yep. And appreciate everybody in the chat here. Arola, Catman, and Rose, wherever she went. She hasn't chatted here since, but thank you
And
everybody for
Arola,
watching.
thank you.
Yep, I said that.
Oh, I thought you said Rose.
No, I did. I said Arola, Rose, and Catman.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Dover, not Drover.
Not Drover. Yep. Thank you
Rosemarie
all.
Dover.
So thank you all for watching and checking it out. So just if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. And if you have TikTok, all right, go over to TikTok. What I did is I have a contest, and I left the CD over there. But the other band that I'm in called Absalon, we have an album called The Blood Seed. I have one CD left; it's brand new, still wrapped, and I'm going to give it away. But you have to be subscribed to this channel. So if you're subscribed, send me a message. You could, if you have me on Facebook, you can go to Wayne Noon on Facebook. I think it's the real Wayne, facebook.com/real Wayne Noon, or you can go to Rats Out Review Facebook, or or Twitter, Rats Out Review, or even on Instagram, Rats Out Review, and just say I subscribed to your YouTube channel, okay, and I will put you in the drawing to win that CD. And and you can also go onto TikTok and hit the follow button on TikTok if you're on TikTok as well. Just send me a message and let me know that you subscribed, and I will put you into the drawing. I don't know when the ending of this thing is going to be. I need to get a couple more people, and then I'll end it. But just go do that, and you will win.
Amazing. It's amazing. You're in 3 bands now.
I will be in 4 bands, maybe.
What?
Yes, the drummer, the drummer. I am the drummer. Kent from Absalon has another band called Fire Sphere, and he's thinking of getting that back together.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Right now, it's a struggle trying to get one Absalon song done. Jeez Christ, say that 10 times fast.
Oh, and by the way, I'll be performing in Brooklyn at Tamaqua Bar by Sheepshead Bay on November 23rd, which is a Saturday. And showtime starts at like 4 o'clock. So this is where I get together with other musicians, and we do cover songs. And I'm performing 2 Tool songs.
Oh yeah.
One of them is 46 and 2, which no problem. The other one is Vicarious off of the 10,000 Days album. That song has some crazy time signature changes. So but I'll be doing those 2. Fight the Good Fight by Triumph. Dig by Mudvayne. There's gonna be a lot of stuff on this one. So
yeah, well, that sounds good.
And I have a feeling
doing something.
I have a feeling I'll be filling in for people who can't show up. That's what happened last year. Like 3 guitar players didn't show up. It was like a 35 song set list. I did 25 songs that night.
Wow.
So they were just like, keep filling him up with the Jackson Cokes because we can't pay him.
Oh, geez, that sucks.
Oh, there's no money in it, dude. It's fun.
Still, it's your time. But
that's okay.
Catman, do you have Instagram or Twitter or X? If not, I know you're already here, so it's fine.
You used to be able to private message people on YouTube, but I guess you can't do that anymore.
You can. I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, that's it.
I'm trying to think before I say, and another thing. But there is one more thing I do remember.
10 minutes left on Free World.
Okay, so as everyone knows who watches this show or works with me on the show, I'm a huge fan of the Trauma film Toxic Avenger. So I'm happy to announce that the 2 main actresses from that film who played the girlfriends of the bad guys, Bozo and Slug, the characters' names were Julie and Wanda. Their real names are Cindy Mannion and Jennifer Baptiste. They're doing horror conventions now, and I got in touch with them, and I might possibly be interviewing them for my podcast. So when that one and the Dale DeBone, when those 2 are done, I'll upload them to Rat Salad Review. So, I guess I'm kind of getting back into the podcast game a little bit. But I only interview the people that I want to. I have no corporate sponsorship, so I'm not tied down to anything.
Yeah, I want to get some more guests on here too. And I do have one. Let me, you know what? I got one more thing to ask you because I almost forgot. Hold on a second. What did I do with it?
Amazing. He's wearing shorts and it's November.
Oh, this is crazy, man. It's like almost 80 degrees today. It's insane.
Indian summer, right?
Yeah, I love it. That's racist, by the way. I got the
You made it
new.
up.
Who made it up?
Well, you said that's what it was.
That's what it's called. But I found out it's racist to call it Indian summer.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh, well, I apologize.
yeah. But I got this in the mail yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Vision Video. It's called Modern Hearts, their new album. It
Mm-hmm.
is really, really good. I'm going to have Dusty come on the show talk about it because I actually really, really like this album. I think it's my favorite album of theirs so far.
Tell him to keep his politics to himself and we'll be fine.
No, I want to hear
Okay.
about his politics.
You want to
Just to
hear about his
piss you off.
politics? Well,
No,
I
no,
think
I want
I
to hear
think
more about this.
you might piss him off. I digress.
Probably but who knows? He's been on the show already, so he already knows who we are. But I just want to talk about this album and his band and all the stuff that he's done because he's done a lot of stuff too. For the last album, which I wanted to have him on, we just didn't have time. So I'm going to talk
Mhm.
about this. But this album is really good. It's called Modern Horror. If you like post-punk, goth rock type stuff, you really like this album. If you like The Cure, you'll like this. But they're better than The Cure. Fuck The Cure. Get Vision Video. Really good stuff.
I like the band. Don't get me wrong, and I do follow Dusty on all of his social media. I like him personally because he's always been nice to me. But I just realized religion and politics, two things you never bring up at discussion at the dinner table. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into politics with him because he's totally different than me and you, and I don't agree with a lot of his stuff. But I don't care about the politics. I just want to talk about his music.
exactly.
He's a good musician and
And,
he's a good guy too. He's just
yeah,
in general a good person.
and he served our country, and for that he has my respect totally.
Yeah,
You know,
you can say Indian Summer the motorcycle. There was
thanks, Catman.
some other word that they said to use instead. I can't remember what it is. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, you did see Terrifier, right? The third one.
Terrifier 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you think?
It's hard for me to say if I liked it better than number 2.
Hmm.
I liked it as much as I liked number 2.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great continuation of the saga of Art the Clown. I cannot wait to see where they go from here.
Right.
But Ralph Vieira kind of said something, and I kind of agree with him on it. It would be really cool if they left some things secretive.
Yeah, he doesn't want to know the origin of Art the Clown.
Yeah, I guess he's not a fan of like certain origins of, because Rob Zombie tried to do that with Michael Myers for his Halloween series, and I like those movies, but I could see where it's like, all right, you didn't really need to go this direction, Rob. But I think it would be cool to see the significance of Art the Clown with Sienna. And is Jonathan still with us?
I think he is. He's got to be. They would not kill off a main character like him
because they never showed it.
Yeah. But it would be interesting. That would be kind of interesting that they just did not show his death. That it is because maybe it was just that brutal.
Yeah. What I find interesting is that everyone was asking me what happened to the little pale girl. Well, the little pale girl ended up being Victoria. She possessed her.
Oh well, yeah, but she's not in the movie.
No, she's not in the movie. Her vessel is Victoria now.
Right.
By the way, if we're spoiling it if you haven't seen it by now, watch it. I think it's available.
I don't think there's no spoiling. Just go watch the movie. But I watched it again because I felt the same way as you do. Like you're not sure if you like it is more than the second one. So it's online. There's a website. I'm not going to say what the website is. I don't want to come over that. But I found it. Somebody sent me the link and I watched it. And because I when I went to go see it, we were in the wrong theater. I already told you all this. We ended up being in the wrong theater. With the movie that we were in starts playing. I'm like, it's a Lego movie. I'm like, this is not Terrifier. So we ran out of there And the woman's like, no, it moved next door. And I'm like, why didn't you tell us that? So I missed the first 10 minutes. So just that whole night was kind of like pissing me off. And we were mad because we missed the first 10 minutes and it kind of ruined the whole rest of the movie for us a little bit.
You don't
So
want to piss Wayne off because you piss him off. It's like,
just one little thing will set me off and I'm just done for the rest of the night.
off to the cornfields with you.
Yeah. So so it kind of ruined the movie for us. So when I watched it, I was like, it's good. But I just there was no nothing that topped that bedroom scene in the second movie. I felt, everybody was saying,
Not
oh,
even the shower scene or the end
people were
scene.
saying the shower scene tops that. And I'm like, after watching it again, because I just watched this the other night, I'm like, all right, maybe it does. Okay. But I think now I feel that I do like three more because they have built on the story a lot. And in this movie, there's a lot of stuff going on. In the second one, it kind of meanders a little bit. Like they know what's going to happen in this story, but it's kind of like they're kind of like really telling it slow.
The buildup is very
It's
slow,
very
but
slow, and there's some things that could have been taken out of the movie and maybe a half hour shorter than it was.
I thought the kills were great in it.
The kills were awesome in it. I mean, there was some really good stuff in there, especially in the first half of the movie where he splits that guy's head open in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane. And the shower scene, it was disgusting when he's cutting the guy in the middle and his things wagging all over the place. But
my friend Tom, so it was four of us that went. It was me, my friend Steve, and Tom and Alan. And poor Tom, it's like, you know, I Tom and I watched the most ridiculous films together. Like we watched Black Dynamite together, and that's like one of our favorite movies. So I don't think he was anticipating how vulgar this was going to get because he had never seen the first two films.
right.
And I'm like, bro, this makes Dawn of the Dead, the 78 film, because he took me to see it for my birthday 2 years ago because it was in 3D at the Westbury. I'm like, this must make Dawn of the Dead look like Bambi, doesn't it? He's like, yeah, this is bad. This is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just I think it's just the story wise. I think three had a better story. It flowed a lot better. There's a lot more things going on. It like he met Santa Claus, and then he went to the mall, and then it was just all over the place. It was all different things, and it was much more to this story than it was in part two. I love part two, but
I love part two as well.
I think part three was really a step up, and also too they had a bigger budget, and then they had help with the special effects and everything, and it just made for a better movie. It looked more Hollywood than the other one did,
It looked
which
more
kind of
Hollywood,
bothered
even
me
the
at first.
small. Really?
It kind of bothered me at first because I like, oh man, they're gonna tone us down. You know,
That they didn't do.
they did not do that, so I was happy about that.
Damien, the psycho from Staten Island, we salute you. Thank you for continuing to bring us joy and gross us out at the same time.
Yeah. But yeah, so you really got to watch it again. And anybody listening on Free World, it is now time for us to leave. So thank you for listening, and we will be
Yes.
back next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, and at every Wednesday. So we're going to come back with another Megadeth continuation of this discography thing that we're doing. We'll see you then. Have a good night, Free World. Bye bye.
Cheers.
So anyway, yeah. So I go back and watch it. I'll send you the link maybe if you want to watch it on that website. But it's I think you might.
We're still on YouTube, I think.
Yeah. YouTube's fine.
Okay.
But I think maybe you'll probably say the same thing as me. You need to watch it again.
I'd be happy to do it, but I want to buy it though. Like I'd
I have a
feel
pre-order. I bought it on Amazon already. It's coming.
okay.
It'll be
Cool.
here.
Yeah, it was a very good film. Anyway,
Exactly. I'm tired now.
yeah. Take us off YouTube already.
Catman and everybody else watching, thank you and good night.
Good
Until
night.
then, till next week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hit subscribe. Get in that Absalon contest, and we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye bye.